All right, everybody, welcome back. Johnny is here, the best damn beer in radio, and this is hour number 2 of the Warfighter Eye today. And I'm telling you, folks, this is like an incredibly motivating day, and it just sort of fell together with my first guest there, John Preston. Just incredibly amazing stuff. And right now, I'm being joined by a second guest, which I normally don't do on the show, but I get to welcome my battle buddy, Ghost Aloner. Ghost, how you doing?
You know what? Surprisingly well, Johnny Zebo. Thank you for having me on your show here. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Ghost is just an incredibly talented author. Published several books, and she's also the host of Desert to Desert here Wednesday nights on Warfighter Eye Radio, and one of the most just impactful people I've ever met, and she won't take the credit for it, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely true. Ghost, why don't you give us just a bit of background on you and a little bit about Desert to Desert before we dive into everything here today?
Okay, well, my name is Ghost, and so just real watered down, extreme abusive childhood, major mental health problems all through college. Joined the Army at age 21 in 1991. Was in the MP Corps, military police, stationed at Fort Bliss. I deployed to Hurricane Andrew in 92, deployed to Somalia for Operation Restore Hope in January of 93. Saw some stuff, did some stuff, got blowed up at one point, got back to the world, back to Fort Blister, and was really sick with severe PTSD. Ended up getting thrown in the psych ward while I was active duty, diagnosed with PTSD. Spent the last 4 months in the Army playing taps at military funerals. I've literally played taps for hundreds of our fallen brothers and sisters. Got out of the Army, became a police officer. After a year, got fired for mental instability due to PTSD. That was the story for the next 9 years, in and out of law enforcement and corrections, continually getting fired for mental instability. In 2002, I was living in Michigan. I was married, and on 24 June, I decided to kill myself. So I went down to the river and sat on the tailgate of my pickup truck with a .22 long rifle, and I fired a bullet into my head, and obviously lived. Since the shooting, it'll be 14 years this month, I've been hospitalized 32 times in psych wards, VA, civilian, tons of medication, electric shock therapy. I did a treatment last year. 2 more suicide attempts, one in 2009, one in 2010. Went through a treatment last year in Bethesda, Maryland, which took all my symptoms away, saved my life, a miracle from God. Like Johnny Zero said, I'm a published author. I've been writing since I was a wee pup, and I take my hurt, I take my pain, and I purge it onto paper and create pieces of writing. And the show Desert to Desert on Wednesday night here on Warfighter Eye Radio is Johnny Zero is my co-host, and I pick a piece that I'm going to read on air. We discuss it briefly, and then I read it, and then we discuss it some more. And it gets pretty intense and pretty heavy and pretty graphic. And that's kind of our gig there, Johnny.
It is. And, folks, I can't even stress to you the power of what Ghost does. And like you said, she's able to purge, the hurt and the pain and everything into writing. And much like our first guest was talking about, he does it through his music, and and is able to share that and to relate to folks. Ghost does that through the written word, and it's just absolutely incredible. And I honestly cannot say enough about it. And she deals with some dark topics, some very heavy subjects. And she wrote this really cool piece a while back, and we did it on the show and everything, and that led to a little bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah, so I came up with this title. The Lord always gives me my titles, and then I just build on them. But The title was Freedom Scars, and I dedicated it to all my wounded brothers and sisters, those who, spilt some of that red stuff over there. And in the course of talking to you, Johnny, I mentioned that you had seen freedom wounds before they became freedom scars because you were a combat medic.
Right.
And in the course of that discussion, we were going to write a piece together called Freedom Wounds, and then I just gave it to you as a gift and said, here, I challenge you to be creative and delve deep inside of you and come up with a piece of the title Freedom Wounds as a combat medic. And you came through, brother. You came through. You succeeded. You wrote an amazing piece. And just so the listeners know, the reason why he has me on the show today is because, no, you don't get to hear Freedom Wounds that Johnny Zero wrote. You have to tune into my show tonight, Desert to Desert, because Johnny Zero is going to be my guest tonight on my show. And Freedom Wounds will debut on Desert to Desert tonight with Johnny Zero.
Yeah, which is totally like humbling to me. I mean, I'm on the radio every day and all that, but I'm used to being the person running the conversation and asking the questions and all that, and this is kind of a big deal, for me personally, putting myself out there, and showing that personal side of the experience and everything. I'm really excited about it. Really, really excited about it. Ghost, do you want to share Freedom Scars with everybody? Do you have some time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So again, this is written and dedicated for my wounded brothers and sisters. Freedom Scars. When children see me, they stare. When adults see me, they look away. The evidence of sacrifice is etched in my skin. I wear the scars of freedom. Where my left leg used to be, where my right arm used to be, where my left eye used to be, where my old flesh used to be. Yes, I wear the scars of freedom. When my loved ones see me, they have the look of pity. When my spouse sees me, they have the look of burden. The evidence of sacrifice is etched in my skin. I wear the scars of freedom. Sitting in my wheelchair, limping along with my cane, underneath my Yankees ball cap. Yes, I wear the scars of freedom. When my veteran brothers and sisters see me, they have the look of understanding, the look of compassion, the look of knowledge, the look of guilt. The evidence of sacrifice is etched in my skin. I wear the scars of freedom. From where I bled in the sand, bled in the mountains, bled in the jungles, bled on that shore, bled in the streets. Yes, I wear the scars of freedom. When I see myself, I have the look of loss, the look of pain, the look of fatigue. I look upon the evidence of sacrifice that is etched in my skin. And I know it doesn't matter what is seen by them, but what is felt by me. I feel honor. I feel pride. I feel whole. For I fought hard for you, and you, and you, earning the scars of freedom. Yes, I wear your scars of freedom.
It's such a cool perspective. I love the term, scars of freedom or freedom scars. Just dealing with the physical traumas of combat and everything. Really cool stuff. And of course, my piece is a follow up to that. I don't know if you call it a prequel or a follow up or whatever, but like you said, it's from the medic's perspective. Because on your show, I said, well, I never got to see the scars. I always saw them as wounds, and then once they heal and everything, I don't see those patients again so often. So it's kind of a cool perspective. But the writing process was intimidating. It was a little scary. I'm not going to lie, and it was actually slightly uncomfortable at times. But I'm so glad and just so blessed that you challenged me to do that.
Well, I always encourage people to write. It doesn't matter what you write. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be epic. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Like I said, to purge that hurt and that pain, to purge the PTSD poison out onto the page or onto the computer screen. Just spill those words. Ernest Hemingway said it best. He said, there's nothing to writing. You just hit the typewriter and bleed. And for me, every word that I write is a drop of blood from my tortured soul, every single one. And that's why some of it's dark, some of it's graphic, but I cannot tell you enough, Johnny, how proud I am of A, you taking on the challenge, and B, you wrote an amazing, amazing, amazing piece, and, I was really blown away. Obviously we've discussed it several times. We worked on it for an hour last night. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, and I know that you've crossed that threshold into discovering a newfound confidence in the fact that you have the ability to not only write, but to write something that is going to not just help you, but in turn help others, specifically our brothers and sisters who are struggling.
Well, yeah, and it's I thank you for that, because it's it was different for me, and anytime you put yourself out there, especially with something so personal, it's really hard to do, and it was kind of a big step for me. And if nothing else, even if it was complete garbage, it felt so good to write. And my brother Steven here is on the chat thread, and he says, how do you recommend starting to write? He said, I've written
Pick up the pen.
Well, he says, I've written songs a couple times, and I've kept attempting to write a book or journal, but I have the hardest time trying to put what I feel into words. Just ends up being random words on a piece of paper with no connection. And I felt like that myself. Now, obviously, you write all the time, and your writing is so impactful and so powerful. What is it? How do you take that step, and how do you get that nudge to link those random words together?
Well, the first step is to pick up the pen. That you've got to do that. Because if you're intimidated by that pen, like it's a rattlesnake or a bomb that's about to go off, you're never going to write.
Yeah.
So you pick up the pen and you just write whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't matter. It could be totally random, and you can go back and connect the words later. You don't even have to make complete sentences, just thoughts, words. Do it alphabetically. So write the alphabet A through Z, and with every word, every letter, describe yourself starting with that first letter. So, all right, I'm going to be arrogant and narcissistic. So for Ghost to Loner, A, awesome, also arrogant. B, bold. C, charming. So you go through and you find a descriptive word of you or what you believe you are through the alphabet. That's going to give you kind of a foundation. You can connect those words later. You can do that with, say, a person, a friend in your life. Assign a word for every letter in the alphabet for that person. For a situation, how you're feeling. How am I feeling? A, awful. B, bad. C, et cetera, et cetera. Go on through. And you can connect those words into sentences. But you absolutely have to pick up that pen first, and don't be intimidated. Don't be scared. And this is the thing. You don't have to show what you wrote to anybody.